When a specific athlete walked into that boardroom and saw the faces of league executives, she knew her world was about to change forever. Caitlin Clark, the player who single-handedly transformed women's basketball from a niche sport into a cultural phenomenon, now stands at the crossroads of a decision that could shatter everything she's built. The incident that triggered this moment didn't happen on the court. It happened behind closed doors in meeting rooms where promises were broken and dreams were crushed. What pushed the WNBA's biggest superstar to consider walking away from the league she revolutionized? What betrayal cut so deep that it made abandoning millions of dollars and a legendary career seem like the only option? The shock waves from this potential departure would destroy the WNBA's commercial empire and leave millions of fans heartbroken. But sometimes even superstars reach their breaking point. Caitlin Clark currently stands as the Indiana Fever's franchise cornerstone and the WNBA's most transformative player since the league's inception in 1997. Wearing number 22. Her rookie season has been nothing short of revolutionary, averaging 19.2 points, 8.4 assists and 5.7 rebounds per game while leading the Fever to their first playoff appearance since 2016. These statistics only tell part of the story of her unprecedented impact on women's professional basketball. The commercial transformation Clark has brought to the WNBA exceeds anything previously seen in women's sports. Indiana Fever season ticket sales increased by over 400% following her draft selection, forcing the team to move from smaller venues to consistently selling out Gainbridge Fieldhouse. Games featuring Clark regularly draw television audiences exceeding 1 million viewers, with some contests reaching over 2 million viewers, numbers that represent historic highs for women's basketball broadcasts. Her influence extends far beyond individual achievements to fundamentally alter the league's economic landscape. Corporate sponsorship deals, specifically targeting Clark's marketability, have created revenue streams that didn't exist before her arrival. The ripple effect of her success has elevated television ratings, merchandise sales, and media coverage for the entire WNBA, making her departure potentially catastrophic for the league's continued growth trajectory. Questions arise about what pressures and challenges might push someone of Clark's stature to consider leaving the sport that has made her a global icon. The transition from college basketball's relative freedom to professional sports' complex business environment creates unique stresses that few athletes have experienced at her level of visibility and commercial success. The Caitlin Clark effect. Thank you very much. The WNBA operates under a salary structure that significantly limits player compensation compared to the revenue and attention elite players like Clark generate for the league. The maximum salary for WNBA players is approximately $230,000. While Clark's estimated market value based on her commercial impact likely exceeds millions of dollars annually. This disparity between contribution and compensation has become a source of ongoing tension throughout women's professional sports. Clark's rookie contract binds her to the Indiana Fever through standard WNBA provisions that include team options and restricted free agency rules designed to prevent player mobility. These contractual limitations mean that even if she becomes dissatisfied with her professional situation, her options for change are severely restricted compared to athletes in other major professional sports leagues. The collective bargaining agreement governing WNBA operations was negotiated before Clark's transformative impact on the league's commercial success became apparent. The financial structures and compensation models established in previous negotiations may not adequately reflect the current reality of what elite players contribute to the league's overall value and growth. Legal experts note that professional athletes bound by restrictive contracts often face difficult decisions when their market value exceeds their contractual compensation. The situation becomes more complex when individual players generate significantly more revenue than their teammates while operating under standardized salary structures that don't account for differential market impact. The physical and mental demands of professional basketball, combined with the unprecedented media attention surrounding Clark's every move, create pressure that few athletes have ever experienced. The constant scrutiny of her performance, personal life, and public statements requires a level of mental resilience that can become exhausting over extended periods. International women's basketball leagues offer alternative opportunities that might be more financially attractive and personally fulfilling for elite players like Clark. European leagues often provide higher salaries, better travel conditions, and less media pressure than the WNBA, creating viable alternatives for players seeking different professional experiences. The EuroLeague women and various national leagues in countries like Turkey, Russia, and Spain have historically offered salaries that significantly exceed WNBA maximum contracts. These leagues often provide housing, transportation, and other benefits that improve overall quality of life for players while offering competitive basketball at the highest international levels. Australia's Women's National Basketball League has also emerged as an attractive destination for elite players, offering competitive salaries, high-quality facilities, and the opportunity to play during the WNBA off-season. The league's growing profile and commitment to women's basketball development make it an increasingly viable alternative for players seeking different professional opportunities. Questions arise about whether Clark's global recognition and marketability might make her an attractive target for international leagues willing to offer compensation packages that exceed what's available in the WNBA. Her drawing power and commercial appeal could justify significant financial investments from leagues seeking to elevate their profiles and attract new audiences. The decision to leave professional basketball entirely and pursue other career opportunities represents another alternative that elite athletes sometimes consider when professional sports no longer align with their personal goals and values. Clark's intelligence, communication skills, and business acumen could translate into success in various fields outside basketball. Media and broadcasting represent natural career transitions for elite athletes who understand the game and can communicate effectively with audiences. Can they win the WNBA champion? They have a lot to prove, but I am putting them in the conversation of contenders. Clark's charisma and basketball knowledge could make her valuable to television networks, streaming services, or other media companies seeking authentic voices to cover women's sports. Business ventures and entrepreneurship offer opportunities for athletes to leverage their personal brands and recognition into sustainable long-term careers. Clark's influence and credibility within women's sports could support various business initiatives focused on athletic development, youth programs, or sports-related technologies. The coaching and basketball development pathway provides opportunities for former elite players to remain connected to the sport, while building new careers focused on player development and team leadership. Clark's technical knowledge and leadership experience could translate effectively into coaching roles at various levels of basketball. Some observers note that the pressures of being the WNBA's primary commercial draw create expectations and responsibilities that extend far beyond typical professional athletic careers. Clark has become not just a player, but a symbol and spokesperson for women's basketball growth, creating additional stress and pressure that affects her daily experience. The organizational culture within professional sports teams significantly impacts player satisfaction and career longevity. Questions arise about whether the Indiana Fever's management, coaching staff, and organizational approach align with Clark's expectations and professional goals as she develops her career and personal identity. Team chemistry and relationships with teammates, coaches, and front office personnel play crucial roles in determining player happiness and career satisfaction. The rapid transformation of the Fever organization around Clark's presence may have created dynamics that affect her comfort level and long-term commitment to the franchise. The balance between individual recognition and team success becomes particularly complex for superstars who generate most of their team's attention and commercial success. Managing these dynamics while maintaining positive relationships with teammates and coaches requires sophisticated leadership skills and organizational support. League policies and decision-making processes that affect player working conditions, compensation, and career development may influence how elite players view their long-term futures within the WNBA. Clark's perspectives on league leadership and strategic direction could affect her commitment to remaining within the current professional structure. The broader women's sports landscape has evolved significantly during Clark's career, creating new opportunities and platforms for elite female athletes to build careers and influence social change. The expansion of women's sports media coverage, sponsorship opportunities, and cultural recognition provides alternatives that didn't exist for previous generations. Social media and digital platforms have created new ways for athletes to build personal brands and generate income independent of their team affiliations and league structures. Clark's massive social media following and engagement rates could support various career directions that don't require traditional professional sports participation. The growing investment in women's sports across multiple disciplines suggests that elite female athletes may have more career options and bargaining power than in previous eras. This changing landscape affects how players evaluate their professional opportunities and long-term career strategies. Corporate partnerships and endorsement opportunities have expanded significantly for elite women's basketball players, creating revenue streams that sometimes exceed their professional sports salaries. These business relationships could provide financial security that reduces dependence on traditional athletic careers. Questions arise about whether Clark's success has created a template for how elite women's athletes can leverage their talent and recognition into sustainable careers that extend beyond the limitations of current professional sports structures and compensation models. The psychological impact of carrying the expectations and hopes of an entire sport can create unique pressures that affect personal well-being and career satisfaction. Clark's role as the face of women's basketball growth means that her decisions and performances are viewed as reflections of the sport's overall health and future prospects. Those things tend to get skewed also by her star power, but she has a real shot. The responsibility of being a role model and spokesperson for women's sports extends far beyond basketball performance to include public appearances, media obligations, and constant scrutiny of personal choices and public statements. These additional responsibilities can become overwhelming for athletes who primarily want to focus on their sport and personal development. Family considerations and personal relationships often influence major career decisions for professional athletes. Clark's connections to family, friends, and personal support systems may factor into her evaluation of different career paths and their impacts on her overall life satisfaction and happiness. The timing of major career decisions often reflects personal readiness and life circumstances that extend beyond professional considerations. The combination of financial security, personal goals, and family priorities creates complex decision-making processes that outsiders may not fully understand or appreciate. Legal experts wonder whether the restrictive nature of WNBA contracts and the league's salary structure might face challenges as elite players like Clark demonstrate market values that significantly exceed their contractual compensation. The success Clark has brought to the league strengthens potential arguments about fair compensation and player rights. The entertainment and media industries have shown increasing interest in women's sports content and personalities, creating opportunities for athletes to transition into careers that leverage their knowledge and recognition while providing greater creative control and financial upside than traditional professional sports careers. One thing about Caitlin Clark, whether you're cheering for the dream, she signs a ton of autographs. Technology companies and startups focused on sports, fitness, and women's empowerment represent growing markets where elite female athletes can apply their expertise and credibility to build successful business careers. Clark's technical understanding of basketball and her influence within women's sports could translate into various technology-focused ventures. The evolving landscape of professional women's sports suggests that the next few years will be crucial for determining how leagues, players, and business partners adapt to the new realities created by superstars like Clark. Her decisions and career path will likely influence how future elite players approach their professional opportunities and career development. The potential loss of Clark would represent more than just the departure of an individual player. It would signal broader challenges within women's professional sports that could affect the league's ability to retain and attract elite talent in an increasingly competitive global marketplace for women's basketball players. Sports analysts wonder whether the WNBA's current structure and compensation model can adapt quickly enough to retain transcendent talents like Clark, or whether the league risks losing its biggest stars to alternative opportunities that better reflect their market value and provide greater career satisfaction and financial security. If you're as concerned about the future of women's basketball as we are, go ahead and like this video. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Do you think the WNBA salary structure needs major changes to keep superstars like Caitlin Clark? What would you do if you were in her position facing these career decisions? We want to hear your perspective on how professional sports leagues can better support their biggest stars. Then hit subscribe and click the bell so you don't miss our coverage of this developing story that could change women's basketball forever. Thanks for watching.